And did I mention it's live?
Okay, we broadcast live from the west side.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Alan Hinton from Sports Politicians Agree to Disagree. Everybody else in the show is gone live. I think I'm the only person that hasn't, so figured I'd get up here, talk to y'all for a little bit. Um, Reporting live from Wilmington, North Carolina, um, representing Chesapeake, Virginia. The thing I want to talk about today is Team USA basketball. I think you've seen a lot if you've been paying attention the last couple of weeks of guys pulling out. LaMarcus Aldridge, Steph Curry, a couple other guys. LeBron James is still undecided. Um, but what you're also seeing is guys that are out there really trying to get on the team. DeMarcus Cousins has been lobbying for years to get on there. He's finally made the roster now that Aldridge has pulled out. Um, I saw Isaiah Thomas said he'd like to play. John Wall wants to be there. Bradley Beal wants to be there. You've got guys who are kind of like screaming to play in the Olympics. They want to get out there and play. And Jerry Colangelo, uh, for whatever reason, has been focused on trying to get superstars there, which I think is fine ever since they lost a few Olympics ago. That's really been a focus. And I think there's nothing wrong with having star power on your team. But the reality is, I think it helps the product for the fans to know who's going to be playing. Um, and also, there's enough talent from America that can play and would make a difference if you let some of those guys play. Um, I think there's nothing wrong with having the superstars there, but I really think that they should find some way to fill out that roster with guys who want to play. I think it would be cool for them to send out invitations to teams or check media, check agents to find out guys who want to play. Chandler Parsons was a guy a couple years ago that kept talking about playing, um, and get some of those guys in. Even if you only get like 10 or 15 of those guys, I know they usually have 30 to 35 guys that come and try out for Team USA. If they find some way to get some of those guys in and then fill with superstars, things like that, I think it would work out a lot better. There, there's no real need to have 12 superstars. If you've got, 12 American-born NBA starters, high-level guys, you're still gonna have a pretty good team. I mean, we got close in a couple of games, the last one, towards the end, but I think that if you got guys who can fit a role and play well together, that's gonna go well regardless. Um, I also really like the USA Select team. I think it'd be really interesting they could get at least one or two of the young guys in there as well. If some guy shows up and does well, I know DeMarcus Cousins again was one of those guys a couple of years ago who had a pretty good shot, but he just fouled too much. And I really like what the select team does for the players that get in there. I like it more for the guys who've already been drafted, um, just because they already have a good idea of the league, what to require, what they're doing. For the guys who haven't been drafted, I think it's just a lot to take in at the same time. But it's also a good introduction to the league for them to really be around pro athletes and get a fair chance to meet some guys who may end up being their teammates or can really help them get acclimated to trying to play in the league. I love the select team. But going back to my original point. Sorry about that. I um, I think that it's just really important that we get some of the guys who want to play in the Olympics to play in the Olympics. I think that if you start getting more guys who want to be there, that'll actually help increase uh, future attendance. The more guys who want to play, guys will start, really start planning around having that time to be there. I think the superstars are what they are, especially guys who are running deep into the playoffs. LeBron James, honestly, I don't think will end up playing just because of the fact that he's getting older They're already playing, and the roster is supposed to be announced in 2 weeks. Um, it just seems like a short turnaround for him. I know Steph has already pulled out. I know Klay Thompson wants to play, but a lot of these guys that are, playing deep into the playoffs, guys that are playing in the finals, they're not going to play, especially going into it, this year. But it'll be a lot better to have those guys who are going to be there, that want to be there, know ahead of time so they can start training, get ready mentally and physically, take their breaks towards the end of the season or whatever case may be. And also, I think that it would help cut down on some of these guys going and playing for other countries. Victor Oladipo, a couple months ago said that, he'd like to play for Team USA, but he could also play, I think it was for Nigeria, because his mother was from there. And I hate the idea of, the U.S. losing talent to other countries just because we're focused on superstars. Obviously, if a guy wants to go to another country, that's his right, but we got to find some way to keep some of these guys in-house. With that said, I'm excited about the Olympics. I really enjoy international basketball. You get to see a lot of guys that you don't get to see, guys who aren't in the NBA, and if you're like me and don't really take the time to research what European teams are the best and don't have the resources to watch it, it's a good opportunity for you to get and see a lot of those guys that either are going to the NBA or have been drafted and not made it over, or guys like Sergio Rodriguez who had short NBA careers but are actually still really good basketball players. There are some guys who play internationally that are just better FIBA players, I guess you really want to call it. It's kind of a different style of play than the NBA, and they're better suited for that. But I love getting to see some of those guys. I love seeing guys that, had an impact in the NBA for a while and, for whatever reason, just age or whatever the case may be. A lot of those Argentina guys from back in the day, some of them are still playing. But you've got some guys, I think, that may end up playing that you'll see in the NBA soon. Alessandro Gentile, Dario Saric. I like being able to see some of those guys that are going to be exciting in the NBA soon, or just guys that you don't know yet. I really like the international play for that reason. You know who's in the NBA. And for the same reason I watch college basketball. I just love being able to know who's getting ready to come, who's the up-and-coming guys, and they hear names that you haven't heard before or haven't heard in a while. That's all I got to say. Short and sweet, to the point. If you got any comments, questions, leave them here. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Getting ready to sign out. See you guys on Sunday. Thanks for checking me out. Peace.
Okay, we broadcast live.